It's a universal truth, yet one we spend a lifetime evading. We are all going to die. This simple, irrefutable fact casts a long, often unacknowledged, shadow over our lives. Irvin D. Yalom, in his profound explorations of existential psychotherapy, doesn't just state this truth. He dissects our elaborate, often subconscious, strategies for denying it. What he reveals is that the death anxiety we commonly acknowledge is often a convenient, albeit terrifying, umbrella term for a cluster of even deeper, more insidious fears. We're not simply running from the cessation of our biological functions. We're often fleeing the specter of meaninglessness, the chilling reality of isolation, and the gnawing sensation of complete loss of control. Consider the pervasive human need for legacy, for leaving a mark. Why do we strive so relentlessly for achievement, for recognition, for building empires or accumulating wealth? Yalom would argue that much of this drive stems from a desperate attempt to defy the ultimate erasure that death promises. If our existence simply fades into oblivion, what was the point of it all? The fear of meaninglessness is thus intricately woven into our death anxiety. We crave a narrative, a purpose, something that transcends our finite individual timelines. Without it, the thought of oblivion becomes unbearable, rendering our daily struggles and triumphs utterly futile. We cling to external validation, to the accumulation of things, or to the creation of families and institutions, hoping these anchors will moor us against the terrifying drift into nothingness. Yet, Yalom gently but firmly reminds us that true meaning isn't found externally, but cultivated internally, often precisely because of our finite nature. Then there's a profound terror of isolation. We are born alone and we die alone. Despite our most intimate relationships, our deepest bonds, there's an irreducible solitude to the human experience. As Yalom frequently notes, no one can die for us. No one can truly accompany us into that final frontier. This realization, often repressed, fuels a desperate need for connection, sometimes to the point of unhealthy dependency or a constant search for validation from others. We fear being forgotten, being cut off from the web of human connection that defines our lives. The act of dying is the ultimate severance, and the anxiety surrounding it is deeply tied to the fear of being utterly, irrevocably alone. This is not just physical separation, but the existential understanding that our consciousness, our unique self, will cease to interact with the world, leaving an unfillable void where we once were. This primal fear of isolation can manifest as social anxiety, a fear of abandonment, or an overwhelming need to constantly be surrounded by others, even if those connections are superficial. Finally, the most insidious component of this complex death anxiety is a complete loss of control. From the moment we are born, we strive for mastery over our environment, over our bodies, over our destinies. We make plans, set goals, adhere to routines, all in an effort to maintain a semblance of predictability and agency. Death, however, is the ultimate surrender. It is an event that is entirely beyond our command, immune to our will and deaf to our pleas. This absolute powerlessness is deeply unsettling to the human psyche, which yearns for order and control. The fear of losing autonomy, of succumbing to something entirely beyond our influence, can manifest in various ways: obsessive behaviors, hypochondria, a rigid adherence to rules, or an inability to delegate. As Yalom often illustrates through his case studies, patients frequently present with seemingly unrelated symptoms: depression, generalized anxiety, relationship issues that, upon deeper existential inquiry, reveal roots in this fundamental struggle against the uncontrollable nature of existence and, ultimately, death. In Staring at the Sun, Yalom recounts numerous patient vignettes where a breakthrough occurs when the individual finally confronts their fear of helplessness, recognizing that while death is inevitable, the manner in which they live in its shadow is entirely within their power. This initial step of peeling back the layers of denial and identifying these core existential anxieties is, for Yalom, the crucial first step toward unlocking a more authentic, fulfilling, and less fear-driven existence. It's only when we understand what we're truly running from that we can begin to turn around and face it. The realization that our time is finite is, paradoxically, one of the most liberating truths we can embrace. It's a stark, unblinking mirror held up to our lives, reflecting not just what we are doing, but what we could be doing and, crucially, what we are not doing. For Irvin Yalom, understanding that time's up, that the clock is relentlessly ticking, transforms a frivolous concept of a bucket list into a profound call to action, compelling us to fundamentally reevaluate priorities, pursue passions with renewed vigor, and live in unwavering alignment with our deepest values, rather than merely drifting through existence. Think about the sheer volume of trivial distractions that consume our days. The endless scroll through social media, the pursuit of fleeting trends, the accumulation of possessions we don't truly need, the endless postponing of dreams until someday. Yalom's work implicitly argues that much of this stems from a subconscious belief in an infinite future. If we implicitly believe we have all the time in the world, why bother with the discomfort of change, the risk of failure, or the effort required to pursue what truly nourishes our soul? The awareness of our mortality shatters this illusion of endlessness. It's a harsh but necessary jolt, forcing us to ask, if this were my last year, my last month, my last day, what would I truly regret not having done, not having said, not having experienced? This existential reckoning isn't about morbid preoccupation. It's about vitality. It's about channeling our precious remaining time and energy into what genuinely matters. Yalom suggests that when we confront the inevitability of our end, the superficial concerns that once dominated our thoughts begin to fade. The social pressures to conform, the fear of judgment, the relentless pursuit of external validation. These often diminish in significance when juxtaposed against the vastness of eternity and the brevity of our individual lives. What emerges is a clearer vision of our authentic self, stripped of the layers of societal expectation and self-imposed limitations. Consider the common human tendency to delay gratification, to put off joy until retirement, until the kids leave home, until we achieve a certain financial status. Yalom would challenge this deferral, arguing that such postponement is a dangerous gamble against the certainty of death. In Staring at the Sun, he presents countless examples of patients who, upon confronting their own mortality or the mortality of a loved one, experience profound shifts in their lives. They quit soul-crushing jobs, mended fractured relationships, pursued long-dormant creative aspirations, or simply learned to savor the simple beauty of everyday moments. It's not that these individuals suddenly became reckless. Rather, they became profoundly intentional. This shift in intentionality is the core of Yalom's message here. It's about moving from a reactive existence to a proactive one. When we recognize that our days are numbered, we become less willing to squander them on activities or relationships that don't serve our core values. We become more discerning about how we spend our energy, who we spend our time with, and what legacy we are building, however small. The bucket list then becomes less about a collection of thrilling adventures, though those can be part of it, and more about a deeply personal manifesto for living a life congruent with our authentic self, one free from regret. It's about seizing the present, not out of panic, but out of profound appreciation for the limited and precious gift of life itself. The awareness of time's up thus becomes the ultimate catalyst for living a life so rich and so true that, when our final moment arrives, we can face it not with despair, but with a sense of completion and profound gratitude. One of the most profound and often unsettling truths Yalom repeatedly brings to light is the concept of existential isolation. It's not merely about being physically alone. It's a fundamental, unshakable reality that each of us is born alone and will ultimately die alone. No matter how deeply connected we are to others, no one can truly experience our consciousness, bear our burdens entirely, or accompany us into that final frontier. This topic delves into why acknowledging this inherent solitude isn't a bleak realization, but rather an invitation to cultivate inner strength and self-reliance, while simultaneously fostering deeper, more meaningful connections with others who profoundly share this universal human condition. The fear of being alone is a powerful human motivator, driving us into relationships, groups, and communities. We seek solace in shared experiences, comfort in mutual understanding, and a sense of belonging that promises to ward off the chill of isolation. However, Yalom's work challenges the illusion that these external connections can entirely erase our inherent aloneness. He observes, for instance, how individuals sometimes cling to toxic relationships or avoid introspection, precisely to evade the confrontation with their own solitary existence. This avoidance, however, often leads to a more profound sense of emptiness, as the true wellspring of meaning and resilience remains untapped. Consider the patient who, despite being surrounded by a loving family, expresses a deep, inarticulate fear of being fundamentally misunderstood or unseen. Yalom might guide this individual to explore the underlying existential isolation, the realization that their unique inner world, with all its thoughts, feelings, and experiences, is ultimately theirs alone. This is a difficult truth to swallow, particularly in a society that often glorifies interdependence and communal identity. Yet, Yalom posits that embracing the solitude is a critical step towards genuine self-acceptance and authenticity. When we stop trying to merge entirely with others or demand that they fill our inner void, we can begin to appreciate our distinct identity. This acceptance doesn't mean becoming aloof or withdrawing from the world. Quite the opposite. By acknowledging our individual solitude, we paradoxically become more capable of forming authentic connections. When we are secure in our own being, less reliant on others to complete us, our relationships can evolve from need-based to choice-based. We connect not out of a desperate attempt to escape loneliness, but out of a genuine desire to share, to understand, and to contribute to another's life. As Yalom illustrates in The Gift of Therapy, the therapist's role is not to fix the client's aloneness, but to accompany them in exploring it, helping them realize that even in their deepest solitude, they are not entirely alone in being alone, a shared human predicament that can ironically forge deeper bonds. Furthermore, confronting existential isolation cultivates inner strength and self-reliance. When we recognize that ultimate responsibility for our lives, our choices, and our meaning rests squarely on our own shoulders, we are empowered. This realization can be daunting, but it also frees us from the futile expectation that others will provide our happiness or define our purpose. It fosters a sense of agency, prompting us to look inward for resources, resilience, and wisdom. This internal locus of control, honed by the awareness of our unique journey, prepares us to face life's inevitable challenges and its ultimate end with a greater sense of peace and self-possession. The unshakable truth of our solitary journey is not a sentence to despair, but an invitation to build a robust inner life and to connect more deeply and authentically with the shared human experience of being and ultimately not being. The human desire to transcend death is ancient, manifesting in diverse beliefs about afterlives, reincarnation, or spiritual realms. However, Irvin Yalom offers a deeply humanistic and profoundly comforting perspective on immortality that grounds itself not in the mystical, but in the tangible impact of our actions. He introduces a concept of the ripple effect, how our kindness, our influence, and our contributions resonate to the lives of others, extending our presence far beyond the confines of our own physical existence. This topic highlights the often underestimated power of meaningful contribution and the quiet, enduring legacy we build simply by being. Most people associate legacy with grand achievements, famous inventions, monumental artworks, or leadership that shapes nations. Yalom, however, broadens this definition to encompass the everyday acts of connection and influence that, cumulatively, form the true fabric of our extended being. He speaks about the tapestry of interconnections that defines human society, suggesting that each thread we weave through our interactions with others adds to a larger, enduring pattern. The ripple effect isn't reserved for celebrated few. It's a universal human phenomenon. Every time we teach a skill, offer a word of encouragement, share a moment of laughter, or simply listen with genuine empathy, we are creating echoes that will reverberate in ways we may never fully comprehend. Consider the profound impact of a compassionate teacher on a struggling student, or the quiet support of a friend during a personal crisis. These moments, seemingly small, can fundamentally alter the trajectory of another's life, influencing their choices, their beliefs, and their interactions with others for years, even generations to come. Yalom often recounts anecdotes from his therapeutic practice where patients, grappling with their own mortality, find immense solace not in a promised afterlife, but in the realization of the positive influence they've already had on their children, friends, or even strangers. This realization shifts the focus from self-centered fear of oblivion to an outward-looking appreciation for connectivity. In Staring at the Sun, Yalom dedicates a significant portion to what he calls tertiary satisfactions, or concentric circles of immortality, moving beyond personal fame to profound satisfaction of knowing one has positively impacted others. He explains that while the idea of a literal, personal continuation of consciousness might be comforting, the verifiable truth is that we do live on to the memories we create, the lessons we impart, and the changes we inspire in others. This form of immortality is not passive. It is actively built through our daily choices and the way we engage with the world. This understanding also reshapes our perspective on purpose. If our existence extends to the lives we touch, then living a life of integrity, compassion, and generosity becomes a powerful form of self-preservation. It is a way to define finality of death by embedding ourselves into the very fabric of humanity. The ripple effect is a continuous process. The kindness you show today might inspire someone else to be kind tomorrow, creating an endless chain of positive influence. Thus, facing death doesn't lead to despair, but to a profound sense of responsibility and opportunity. The chance to intentionally create a legacy of connection and positive change, knowing that the echoes of our life will indeed resonate in eternity. For many, the thought of death is paralyzing, an ultimate stopper of dreams and ambitions. Yet, Irvin Yalom offers a counterintuitive and profoundly liberating perspective, that the awareness of our mortality, far from being a source of despair, can be a potent catalyst for creativity and purpose. This section explores how confronting our inevitable end doesn't just motivate us to live more intensely, but can actually inspire us to build, to innovate, and to forge profound meaning in a world that, by its very nature, is impermanent. Think of the great artists, writers, and thinkers throughout history. Many were acutely aware of their limited time, and this very awareness often fueled their most profound works. Michelangelo toiled under the oppressive knowledge of his own finitude, perhaps driving his monumental output. Poets like Rilke grappled with transience, letting it infuse their verses with a heartbreaking beauty. Yalom would argue that this isn't mere coincidence. It's a testament to death's power as life's ultimate muse. The finite nature of existence injects an urgency, a preciousness, into every moment, urging us to make something of it, to express what lies within before the opportunity is lost. This creative impulse isn't limited to artistic genius. It extends to every facet of life where we bring something new into being or imbue something with unique meaning. It's about building a business, cultivating a garden, raising a family, or simply solving a complex problem at work. Each act of creation, however small, is a defiant affirmation of life in the face of death. It's a way of saying, I was here and I added something. Yalom's patients often discover untapped wells of creativity when they genuinely engage with their mortality. A retired individual might finally pursue a long-dormant hobby. A grieving person might find solace and purpose in founding a charity, or someone facing a terminal illness might choose to dedicate their remaining time to mending relationships or writing their life story. These are all acts of creation born from the stark awareness of time's brevity. In Staring at the Sun, Yalom discusses how individuals, once they shed the layers of denial about death, often experience a surge of vitality and a reawakening of their core desires. He might illustrate this with a patient who, after years of feeling aimless, suddenly finds profound sense of purpose in mastering a new skill or dedicating themselves to a cause they deeply believe in. This newfound drive is about escaping death. It's about fully embracing life because death exists. It's about making the most of the singular opportunity we've been given. Furthermore, the act of creation itself can be a powerful antidote to the fear of meaninglessness, which, as we discussed, is a core component of death anxiety. When we create, we imbue the world with our unique perspective, our unique effort. This act of imbuing helps to anchor our existence, giving it weight and significance. It's a way of saying, my life mattered. I left something behind that wasn't there before. The courage to create, therefore, isn't just about producing something. It's about the profound psychological transformation that occurs when we accept our impermanence and choose to respond not with resignation, but with vibrant, generative affirmation of our own existence. It's living a life so fully engaged that the end becomes less a terrifying void and more a natural conclusion to a well-lived narrative. Excellent. KBOMKO quino topico liagredo. Chega museo sexto e ultimo topico. Que vai unir todas essas ideas em passos práticos para integrar a sabedoria de mortalidade em nossa vida diária. 6 compelling insights from Yalom. How facing death transforms life. 6. Beyond the couch. Practical steps to embrace your mortal wisdom. Having explored the underlying fears, the reevaluation of time, the solitude of existence, the ripple effect of our actions, and the creative surge inspired by mortality, we arrive at the most crucial question. how we translate these profound insights from Yalom's existential therapy into our daily lives. This final topic offers actionable insights, moving beyond the couch, to provide concrete ways individuals can integrate the wisdom of mortality into everyday living, fostering greater presence, cultivating deep gratitude, and ultimately developing profound appreciation for the sheer preciousness of existence. Yalom's work isn't just theoretical, it's deeply practical, aimed at helping people live more fully. One of the most fundamental steps he advocates, even implicitly, is to cultivate present moment awareness. Much of our anxiety about death stems from projecting into a future that isn't guaranteed, or replaying a past that can't be changed. By consciously bringing our attention to now, truly savoring a meal, fully engaging in a conversation, feeling the sun on our skin, we ground ourselves in the only reality we possess. This isn't about ignoring the future, but about ensuring that the present isn't wasted. Simple mindfulness practices, like focusing on your breath for a few minutes each day, can be powerful tools to achieve this. Another vital practice is acknowledging and expressing gratitude. When we become acutely aware of life's finite nature, the ordinary can become extraordinary. The ability to walk, to see, to connect, to simply be. These are profound gifts that are often taken for granted until threatened. Yalom often highlights how patients facing terminal illness frequently report an intensified appreciation for life's simple pleasures. We don't need a life-altering diagnosis to tap into this. Making a daily habit of identifying 3 things you're grateful for, no matter how small, can fundamentally shift your perspective from scarcity to abundance, illuminating the richness of your current existence. Furthermore, consciously nurturing authentic relationships is paramount. As we discussed, the fear of isolation is a core component of death anxiety. Yalom's emphasis on a therapeutic relationship as a model extends to all our connections. True authenticity, vulnerability, and deep listening in our interactions are not just pleasantries. They are vital antidotes to existential aloneness. Prioritizing quality time with loved ones, expressing affection and appreciation, and being truly present for others. These actions create a robust network of human connection that enriches our lives and, in turn, allows our ripple effect to flourish. This means letting go of superficial connections that drain us and investing in those that genuinely nourish our soul. Finally, embracing our mortal wisdom means living with intentionality. This is the culmination of all previous points. It means making conscious choices about how we spend our time, energy, and attention, aligning them with our deepest values. It involves a continuous process of self-reflection. Are my actions congruent with the kind of person I want to be? Am I pursuing what truly gives me meaning? Or am I merely reacting to external pressures? This intentionality empowers us to make peace with the uncontrollable aspects of life and death by focusing wholeheartedly on what we can control, how we choose to live each precious moment. As Yalom frequently suggests through his works, the greatest regret at life's end is not having truly lived. By embracing our mortal wisdom, we seize the opportunity to construct a life so rich, so purposeful, and so deeply connected that when the final curtain falls, we can face it not with terror, but with a profound sense of completeness and a quiet, dignified peace. If Yalom's insights on embracing mortality resonated with you, imagine the deeper understanding waiting in our next discussion. Don't let these powerful ideas just pass by. Subscribe to our channel for more profound explorations into the human experience and practical tools to live a more meaningful life. Hit the notification bell so you never miss out, and join our community dedicated to growth and authentic living. Your journey of self-discovery continues here.